Hi, I'm Michael Pinson. It's November 9th, 2016, the day after our presidential elections. Now, folks, it's time to heal our country. It's time to unite as Americans. It's time to speak out and stop the hate, the political correctness, the people who are using the word racism, bigotry, homophobic. It's time to condemn these type of organizations and unite. We have the opportunity for the first time in many, many years to stop the corruption at all levels of our government. If we unite and hold our next president-elect accountable to make our country great again and make it better, I am confident we can. It's wrong to divide our country up by race or income class, religion, or sex to promote hate in our free nation. It's anti-American to turn around and judge a person by the color of his skin as compared to a person's character or what's in his heart. As long as we teach these values in our social media, share them with our neighbors and the people in our workplace, I know that we can make America the best place it's ever been. When we talk about illegal immigration, we already have existing laws in the books that President-elect Trump wants to enforce. These are the exact same laws that President Carter had on the books when he was president, when President Bush was president, when we had Bill Clinton in office, and we had George W. as well as President Obama. These are all the same laws that we want to have enforced. Nothing new, nothing changed. We want the laws enforced, not ignored. It's time to protect our inner cities and rebuild them, and the first step is to secure our borders. We must at least try to slow down the massive drugs and the illegal guns, the massive thousands of rounds of illegal ammo coming across the Mexican border into our inner cities to fund MS-13, which is the largest drug organization and gangs in El Salvador, as well as the Mexican drug cartel that's operating in every city in our country today. It's time to say enough is enough and protect all citizens regardless of their income class, their religion, or their backgrounds. And say we are sick and tired of seeing gangs shoot it out in the inner cities and other places of our country where 8 and 9-year-old kids are being shot as they're trying to play in the playground in our free nation. It's not a free nation in many parts of our country. It's a war zone. What people are not talking about, especially these radical groups that you're hearing about, protests in our country, is why are 400 plus kids shot and killed a year in the city of Chicago, primarily from gangs and drugs, all coming across from our borders. Why are we talking about the 3,600 plus people that are being shot per year in Chicago alone? If we really care about rebuilding America, we must all agree that's very wrong to leave an entire race of people behind, because our country cannot prosper in the future and remain stable at all by just ignoring the people in the inner cities. We must take back our inner cities by securing our borders, but having open commerce as well as open tourism, but safely. We must deport every single non-citizen who's created a crime in our country and get them out permanently. We must have a president who's going to work with Congress and demand that we have 4 to 6 million work visas in specific industries. If we're short 10,000 construction workers, then let's have 10,000 work visas for foreign nationals only in the construction industry, but they can't work in any other industry. We must penalize and blackball those people who come here on a student visa or tourist visa and never leave, because these people are in fact involved in many crimes. Yes, when you stay here and start a business without a license and you don't pay taxes, you don't pay workman's comp, as American business owners are being forced to do, they can't compete. So the illegal businesses are benefiting, putting the legal businesses who pay the taxes out of business. This is hurting our inner cities the most. We need to rebuild our inner cities with additional tax credits of people investing and opening up businesses, but also people who live actually in the inner cities. We do this not by race, but we do it by low-income economic zones. We allow the tax credits to be increased for every person that lives in that zone who has a job with that type of business for more than 12 months, either part-time or full-time. They get tax credits. We must bring back, government guaranteed loans for these specific areas. We don't want businesses to open up from the good neighborhoods and the bad neighborhoods and not hire anyone. They can, but they won't receive the tax benefits as compared to hiring people who are actually living in that neighborhood and giving them equal opportunity. Because when you have lower crime and you have higher prosperity, more business and commerce, people are happier, safer, and they're not enslaved to the government system to depend on them at retirement. And that is part of the American dream and home ownership. And that is what our country is all about. We need to condemn the school systems and the colleges that are the movements where our teachers' unions clearly have been overtaken in the leadership side with radical organizations clearly stating that we need to have safe zones in our high schools and colleges segregated by race or religion. This progressive movement is nothing more than fascism, discrimination, and hatred. It's designed to promote hate and not prepare all of our children equally and fairly to compete in an open capitalist society in a free market environment. We're going backwards to the 1960s through our own teachers' unions by saying if you're black, you need to be in the safe zone there, and if you're white, you need to be in the safe zone over here. That is racism. We need to condemn and say we as the taxpayers are paying for our schools and colleges, and we're tired of this and enough. No more safe zones. Let's teach equal opportunity and freedom and the right to prosper. Let's teach the United States Constitution is about protecting our rights as individual citizens, while the Constitution is written also to limit the power of the government over us. Let's teach that hate and racism, fascism, people of Nazi parties or the KKK or even socialists, and these radical groups are anti-American, and we as America have had enough. When we see the news anchors promote that this presidential race was won by all white people, we must condemn those news anchors and demand for their termination of employment today. We must. We, the people, it's not about race. It's not about how much your neighbor has more or less than you. It's not about religion. It's about equal opportunity and freedom and us living together as all Americans, as unity in one nation under God, indivisible. Remember these rules? These are rules. These are not values. These are rules to our country. So what we need to do is bring back those people who will appreciate our national anthem. Bring back the people who appreciate our flag. Yes, people have the protest to be idiots and burn our flags. That's the way our Constitution works. But we need to be aware and be very careful that we do not want to have radical organizations growing in our country where they use our free voting system to take over our government, ignore our laws, and then turn around and use their power to end the Constitution illegally. We have seen our Constitution at extreme risk in the past, and it's time that we the people say enough is enough. The radical organizations that we're seeing protesting in the cities of New York and Chicago, waving the flags tonight on this date, saying Social Alliance, waving red flags with white lettering, are Marxist, i.e. communist organizations. And it's growing. They have the right to protest, but you as an American have the right to condemn the Nazis. You have the right to condemn these fascists and socialists walking down our cities and in our schools and teaching our kids to be anti-American. You have the right to openly condemn the hate and say that's wrong, because these organizations do not support the values that I have mentioned so far in this video and under our United States Constitution. Our borders are secure for a reason under the United States Constitution. We've had the same immigration rules and laws since Jimmy Carter, under President Bush, under President Bill Clinton, under George W., and even President Obama. Our immigration laws, we the people are asking for our government and President-elect Trump to merely enforce the existing laws. It's illegal to come across our border illegally. It's illegal for people from Eastern Europe to come across the United States on a tourist visa and stay here after 6 months and never leave. It's illegal for non-citizens to vote in our federal elections. In fact, it violates your equal voting and civil rights under voting and civil rights federal laws, under the U.S. Constitution and many federal acts as well. It violates your civil rights to allow non-citizens to vote in the elections. It dilutes your vote and degrades your civil rights as a U.S. citizen. Think about it. Why would anyone want to support having non-citizens take away the value of your citizenship? That's not American. When people want to vote, have them join the club. Become American, but support our American core values and our rules. We want to bring in immigrants from all nations and all backgrounds, but have one common thing in mind. One common thing. They need to respect the American flag, our national anthem, our U.S. Constitution, Declaration of Independence, our laws, the fact that they can dream and reach the American dream by working hard, that we don't need big government. We need limited government to protect our environment and protect free trade from large organizations from corrupting our system. Yes, but we don't need big government. We want to bring in immigrants who want to become Americans. When they become Americans, they're nothing else. They're us. The rest, they're just visitors and they're guests. And after being here so long, they can join the club. But those who break the law must go. Those who abide by the law get the benefits to stay and be a U.S. citizen and reach the American dream. So let's not put up with any more safe zones, bigotry, or racism. Let's not put up with the news networks allowing their paid news anchors to say an election was won by a majority of whites, when the fact is that, unfortunately, Secretary Clinton had the fewest minority votes, the fewest votes from the gay community, the fewest votes from the Hispanic community in well over 16 years in our elections. Sorry, but that's true. So this whole thing that whites controlled this last election, no, it was Americans. It was Americans from all backgrounds and races and income classes who are tired with both parties being corrupt, who are tired with both parties having an establishment, who are tired of the multinational companies and the foreign governments corrupting our political system illegally, who are tired of our government not enforcing our laws, that they're elite and we are nothing more than working pawns for a modern day government. The government has no right to take 40 or 50% of everything you earn. The government has no right to take 40 or 50 or 60% of your life savings when you pass away to prevent your children from inheriting more. These are Marxist and fascist values to fool people, where all of a sudden we're in a modern day Marxist state and we don't even realize it. We are Americans. We made a statement on the election of 2016. Enough is enough. Forget politically correctness. Stop the hate and say it's wrong to divide our country by income, class, religion, sex, okay, or race. It's wrong and promote hate in these areas like we have seen year after year. And when your teacher or your college professor does it, stand up and say, no, professor, or no, teacher, that's not what America is about. Stand up and say this is about equal opportunity. It doesn't matter what background you come from. It's about freedom and individual rights, not about radicalism and hate. I'm Michael Pinson. Let's unite America, and let's make it the best it's ever been. Thank you for listening.